In this short paragraph here, we are given the stream speed of 1 kilometer an hour, the total time being 3 hours. We are asked what the canoe speed on still water would be, which I've decided the variable for that would be x. The downstream speed is the normal stream speed plus the canoe speed, so x plus 1. And then when you're traveling upstream, you are going against the current there, so then it is your paddling speed minus the stream speed, in this case being 1. The downstream distance is 5 kilometers, and the upstream distance in yellow there is 6 kilometers. So then we're able to determine that the downstream time, which would be downstream speed divided by, downstream distance divided by the downstream speed, or 5 divided by x plus 1. And we also know the upstream time, which would be the distance upstream divided by the speed upstream, which is 6 divided by x minus 1. And we know that the total time is 3 hours. So then we know that the downstream time, which is TD, and the upstream time, which is TU, will equal the total amount of time. This means that the new equation, which would be this and this combined, is 3 equals 5 divided by x plus 1 plus 6 divided by x minus 1. So I've rewritten the equation to remove all of the various, modifiers like kilometers an hour and time. So then we find that the lowest common denominator of 5x plus 1 x plus 1, 5 divided by x plus 1 and 6 divided by x minus 1 will be x plus 1 and x minus 1 multiplied by each other. Which means now we can multiply all the terms in the equation. Oopsies. Oh, you're not supposed to see that yet. So we have 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 equals 5 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 divided by x plus 1 plus 6 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. I know that's quite a mouthful. And then we can actually do some canceling here. So we have, you can't, there we go. So we have nothing we can cancel here because there's no division. Then we have x plus 1, x minus 1, and then x plus 1 again on the other side of the division sign. So I'm just going to cross these two out. And then we have 6 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. And we can cancel these guys out because they're the same. So then when we do that and continue multiplying, we're left with 3 times x squared minus 1 equals 5 times x minus 1 plus 6 times x plus 1. So then once we finish multiplying, we are left, oopsies, my paper keeps slipping on me, 3x squared minus 3 equals 5x minus 5 plus 6x plus 6. And then we're going to just move some stuff around in this equation. So then all the terms are on one side, and so then it can equal 0. And we're left with 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. And then we need to factor this. So first we have to find, so this is a messy trinomial here. So we multiplied 3 by negative 4 to get negative 12. And then we know negative 12 plus 1 equals negative 11. And negative 12 times 1 equals negative 12. So we found two factors of negative 12 that will equal negative 11. So then we group these into 3x squared minus 12x and x minus 4. So we go from 11x to negative 12x plus x. And then we factor in two groups. So then we have that. And then finally, our last bit of factoring is just putting that and that into one bracket, and then those two are the same, so they go into, so then there's one bracket of x minus 4. And then we know x minus 4 equals 0, or 3x plus 1 equals 0. So x minus 4 equals 0, but turns into x equals 4. And 3x plus 1 equals x, or turns into x equals negative 1/3. And we know that someone's speed cannot be negative because that would just be going backwards and wouldn't work in this case because he would not be visiting people in the correct order. So then x will be equal to 4, which means Lucas's canoe speed will be 4 kilometers an hour. And we can do a quick check of this by inputting 4 into our previous equation up there. So then we do what's inside the brackets first, following bed mass. So we end up with 5 divided by 5 plus 6 divided by 3, which equals 1 plus 2. And 3 does equal 3. So we know that this solution works. Oh, that wasn't a very good check mark. There we go. And that is my incredibly lengthy explanation of a somewhat lengthy question. Dragon here, since I have no one to prompt me right now. How did you approach the problem? Why, thank you, Mr. Dragon. I approached this problem first, well, because I was like, okay, I have to explain it to someone else. But to explain, I have to do it myself. So I went through the whole thing and I solved it, and it wasn't very neat. Like, the problem goes down and it goes up and sideways all over the place. But I figured out the answer to it, and the very first thing I did when solving that problem was just to go through the paragraph that was the question there and find every little bit of information I could, which is what those first 3 parts of the table were in my video here. I'll just bring that up again so you can actually see that. It's reversed on my screen right now, so I can't actually read what it says. So I have the stream speed, which was a kilometer an hour, the total time, the canoe speed, the distances of everything, and with that, then I figured out what the speed of everything was, and then I figured out like the speed, downstream speed, the upstream speed, and then I got the times for both downstream and upstream. Then I put those together into one equation, which would then equal the total time, which was 3 hours in this case. And I just went from there as my equation being, I'm not going to read it out because it would take me a while, but being this line here where there's that pink 5. And I think one of the biggest things I learned was it's a lot easier to like do this ugly thing than it is to make it understandable for another human being to understand my process, because in my head I'm just doing it all automatically without thinking too much about every individual step. It's just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and it starts to become something you just learn how to do automatically. Like now I'm able to factor pretty quickly, when before it could take me a few minutes but to go through every step, but now it still takes a few minutes, but it takes far fewer minutes, I guess. And I think one of the biggest challenges was going through the question and trying to make sure I got every I don't know what you call it, constant, or I don't know what the best term would be for that, but like the speed of all the parts and making sure I had it all correct. And I think the second hardest thing was making sure I had all of my stuff calculated the right way, so making sure I have distance over speed instead of speed over distance, because that seems to be something I get mixed up quite a lot. So I had to double check that a few times with my notes. And let's see, common mistakes that people make. I think one of the, I'm purely guessing here, but I think one of the common ones that someone might make would be putting the wrong variables into their equation in the wrong spots. They have all the right information, but it's just not arranged in the right way. So they might multiply where they need to divide, or divide where they need to multiply, or have the numerator and the denominator swapped. And I think another common mistake, so I have the equation before I do any multiplication or division to it, and it goes as follows: 3 equals 5 divided by x plus 1 plus 6 divided by x minus 1. And I'm guessing that one of the things people do, instead of trying to find a common denominator there, they just add across. So they see the, I wrote it out here, but I don't know if that's legible. They see the 5 and the 6, and they go, oh, 11. And then they see x plus 1, x minus 1, so then that just turns into 2x there, and you get 3 equals 11 over 2x, which it certainly is not the correct answer for this equation.